Upper model assembly. Face arch preparation. Before assembling the face arch, we will identify its components. Earpieces, Nasion, central screws, bracket, pink wax, and upper model. First, the Nasion positioner must be placed on the face arch, and the upper and lower screws of the arch must be left loose. The upper plate must be left in position. Pink wax must be put on the face arch bracket and indentations made for the maxillary teeth. It is important to ensure that the model is stable and that none of its parts move. Placing the bracket in the mouth. To assure a proper fit, the bracket must be inserted into the patient's mouth and adjusted to match up with his or her teeth. During this process, the patient is asked to hold the bracket with both hands. Face arch placement. The face arch must be inserted into the patient's mouth and aligned with the bracket rod. Earpieces must then be placed in the patient's external ear canals. Upper central and side screws of the face arch must be tightened. Then, the Nasion positioner is placed and pressed firmly at the point of the same name, Nasion positioner, to finally tighten firmly the face arch lower screws. It is very important to do this maneuver with both hands so as to prevent face arch movements, making sure that taking records is done correctly and that the bracket does not separate itself from the maxillary dental pieces. Once the record has been taken, the face arch must be removed. Firstly, by loosening the screw of the Nasion positioner and then the face arch central screw. To finish with the procedure, the patient must be requested to open up his or her mouth, thus removing everything together. Articulator preparation. Once the record has been taken, and in order to move the face arch to the articulator, the sagittal condylar guide must be adjusted to 30 degrees and the side condylar guide to 0 degrees, along with the back rotation safety. Following these instructions, the mandibular condyles will be placed in position. Besides, by placing the mounting positioner on the lower branch, it will allow us to decrease all possible face arch bracket movement. Finally, leave the anti-plaster expansion safety fixed on the lower part. Before taking the face arch to the articulator, the Nasion positioner must be removed to make sure that earpiece perforations match pins located on the articular boxes. Once placed, the face arch central screw must be fixed. Joining upper model to the articulator. Once the face arch is placed, the upper model must be located on the bracket, making sure that the mounting positioner is in contact with the bracket lower part. Prepare white orthopedic plaster and place it on the upper model. Make sure that the amount is enough so that contact takes place with the articulator upper plate and previous part with the face arch bar. Finally, fix the anti-plaster expansion safety on the upper branch to avoid distortions. On a second increase, refill the plaster that you lacked in order to form the baseboard.